Hello everybody. In the current affairs this week, the week ended 1st of September 2024. We all know that India as an economy, the USP is its growth. This week, the growth figures for the quarter ended March to June were declared by the National Statistical Office. The figures declared said that India is growing at the rate of 6.7%. While as the Reserve Bank of India had estimated the growth of India at 7.1%. These sectors like manufacturing, construction and services grew up by more than 7%, but the laggard was on account of the government expenditure being sluggish on account of elections in the first quarter. Moreover, agriculture was also sluggish, but it is expected that in the quarters to come, government expenditure would pick up, and because the second round of monsoon was good, the second quarter numbers of GDP growth will also be in place. As far as the Indian stock markets are concerned, the Nifty 50 was up by 1.66% this week, and on all the trading days of this week, Nifty was on a positive trend. Nifty mid cap was up by 1.29% and Nifty small cap was up by 0.91%. This week, there was large buying by both FIIs and DIIs. The major sectors which were up were Nifty IT, which was up by 4.13%, and Nifty Pharma was positive by 3.06%. On the international front, the global markets and especially the US markets were awaiting the results of Nvidia. Nvidia is looked upon by everybody in the world as the next giant for the reason that it is going to drive the AI revolution across the world. Nvidia, in its quarterly results for the quarter ended June 2024, in comparison to the quarter of the earlier year, rather the same quarter of the earlier year, the revenue growth was 122% and the net income growth was 168%. The interesting thing is that Nvidia operates on a gross margin of 75%. And this year, that is the year 2024, in first 6 months, Nvidia has paid its shareholders 15.4 billion US dollars, which is more than 1,25,000 crores of rupees to its shareholders by way of either dividends or buyback of the shares. This week, De Beers, one of the largest players in the diamond industry, which controls more than 40% of diamond trade, has said that India has replaced China in natural diamonds consumption and is now second just to the US. This is a positive news that economy of India is doing quite well, and diamonds, which is one of the commodities which is used by people who are ultra rich or when the basic needs are completely met, is gaining strength or gaining use in India, and the affluent class in India is on a rise. The disparity of income in India is definitely an area of concern, but at least there are pockets of prosperity which are coming up in India. In Africa, the major African economies are in deep debt crisis. In Kenya, the rates of taxes were increased, which led to a lot of violent protests in Kenya, and the increase in the tax rates had to be rolled back. The reason for increasing the tax rate was that because of all the huge public debt the government is facing, they needed revenue to meet up the payments and obligations of those public debt. The alarming part of this debt is that the composition of the debt of all the major African economies is something which is very disturbing. Out of the total debt of Kenya, 73% of it is owed to China. That of Nigeria, 83% is owed to China. And that of Uganda, 72% is owed to China. So China has made all these countries quite indebted, and as we all know that these countries are quite resource rich, and China will have a lot of sway over the resources of all these African countries. The largest manufacturers of automobiles in India, Maruti Suzuki, has declared that they are running an inventory of 38 days, which is a substantially large amount of inventory, and they expect that by the festive season this inventories will come down to just 10 days. But this is a large inventory for an automobile company. So many people who are investing in the automobile sector prefer automobile component manufacturers over automobile manufacturers, because the automobile component manufacturers can diversify the companies to which they can supply their components, and they can even diversify the supply of their components across geographies. This is all for this week. Thank you.